everybody, Kitty Quenzel here. I've been doing quite a few videos while I was away and realised that actually these videos are probably quite helpful anyway, so even if I'm not on tour, I probably will do the occasional one on different subjects. So the one that I thought I would do today, seeing as I've just come back from a tour, is budgeting for a tour. So, touring can be quite expensive to do as a model. You need to think about your food, you need to think about your transport, you need to think about your accommodation. There's so many little things that you need to think about, and then even sort of day-to-day purchases. Actually, I'll probably talk a little bit about as well the essentials that you'll need to take with you as a model on tour. So, from the top. Getting your money together. It's probably quite important before you go on tour that you have at least £500 on you. Now you can make this beforehand a little bit if you take deposits on your bookings. Now, as an established model, this is quite an easy thing to do, especially if you've already done it with other people, because then people know that you're trustworthy and people know that, you know, you take your deposits and you take the rest on the day after actually having completed the job that you've promised to do. So what I personally do is I take a 50% booking, which allows me to pay for my accommodation and my travel up front before I go. Now, I still make sure I've got money in the bank, but what I do is I basically put that straight into a savings account, which I'll then leave there until the day that I leave, or I start paying for things, in which case I then start transferring it into the account that I'm actually using to pay for things, and I can pay for them without actually breaking the bank, which is fantastic. Now, in terms of accommodation, the best thing to do, you've probably all heard of Airbnb. Now, Airbnb is very good, and sometimes you can be lucky in that you can actually find apartments and houses that will actually allow events. If they allow events, it normally means that you can actually shoot in them, which is brilliant. But there's two ways to look at this one, because you can either ask the people if you can shoot there and they will say yes or no. If they say no, they won't want you staying there at all and you will have to find somewhere else to stay. Alternatively, you can go for the guerrilla approach, which is basically shoot there but keep it on the down low. But if they do find out, there is a possibility that they will be very upset with you. They will charge you extra, or I've even heard horror stories of girls actually being thrown out of where they were staying because they weren't okay with them shooting there. So I would say, to be on the safe side, ask. We were very lucky when we went to the Netherlands. We actually found a woman with an amazing property with lots of natural light. I asked her from the get-go whether or not we could shoot there before I'd even booked it, and she said yes. So it worked out brilliantly. And the brilliant thing about shooting in an apartment or a hotel as opposed to a studio is it's more interesting. More walls, more furniture, interestingness, natural light from windows. It looks fantastic. There's not really anything that looks bad in natural light. It's nature's softbox. It's fantastic. So yes, accommodation. Other than that, there is a website that I use sometimes called Homestay. Now, Homestay is basically, it's a website that puts you in touch with people where you can actually stay in their homes and they give you breakfast and you have a good hot shower and a bed. It's basically kind of like having a foster family for the amount of time that you're with them. I did this a few times on an Irish tour and it worked out really well. One of the people I stayed with did dinner as well, but it's nice to have company, I found, on tours. I really enjoyed touring with Bobby because I had constant company, so it worked out well. But when I was in Ireland, I was mostly alone, and so actually having people to communicate with, I felt safer because I was in a home with people. It was just a nicer nature, a nicer feeling. I much preferred it that way. So yeah, accommodation. There's a few options, but I would definitely suggest check Airbnb and check homestay. In fact, homestay, I believe I had the equivalent of about £20 to £30 a night, and that was breakfast included and having my own door key and being able to come and go as I wanted. So it worked really well. If all you're after is a bed and a shower, that is probably the way to go. Although you have to think, if you've got a lot of luggage and things, that maybe if people don't want to be disturbed and you are carting a large suitcase back and forth, that's not ideal. So it's worth actually mentioning these things before you book, when you're actually talking to the people originally. Now, travel. Travel's an interesting one. There are ways to save. When I was in the Netherlands, for example, I found out there is a local card called a chip card. Now, you don't save an awful lot, but if you're taking 20 or so journeys and you're saving a couple of euros each time, that soon adds up. And yes, I found the chip card was useful because I could just put credit on it, and then I could like flash it on the card reader, very much like you do with an Oyster card. It was efficient, I think, was the answer to that one. And then food. Now, if you're travelling abroad and if you're staying abroad, the best thing to do for food is to do what the locals would do. Would the locals go to a restaurant every single night and eat a 2-course meal? No, they wouldn't. Would they go to a supermarket and get things and take them home and cook them? Yes, they would. So basically we bought things from the supermarket. We bought meat and vegetables and snacks and things, and we made our own lunches and we made our own dinners. And yeah, you know, sometimes if it was late, it was a bit of a carry on having to make things, but it worked out so much cheaper. It worked out so much easier. We had food in the fridge, we had little ovens, and a hob area in the places where we stayed anyway, so that's what we did. And that's what I would recommend you do too, when touring. So yeah, I think that's everything I can think of today on that one. If I do think of any more, I will probably do another video and add to this one. But anyway, I hope that was helpful, and if there's anything more that you can think of that you might want me to add to, do let me know. Okay, have a great night, folks. Bye!